Use Campbellton Road or I-20 as alternates, Doug Turnbull.
Triple T traffic continues every 6 minutes with the Word on the Street crew. I'm Doug Turnbull at 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Word on the street. Word on the street.
Hold on to the seat of your pants, baby. We got a full show planned for you. Mr. Jerry Falwell Jr. is hanging out with us today, and we got a brand new segment, Confessions, just for you guys. And I got phone lines open right now, 404-872-0750. And now, let me introduce you to my team, because I got a strong one. Shelly Winter, Milani Kai, DJ Crystal, and me, Scotty B, here on 95.5 WSB.
The Sweet Auburn Business District has proven when you're so woke, it can go horribly wrong.
Ooh.
Also, the NBA has approved their new social justice messages for the back of jerseys. Guess what's not on this list?
I read.
Back to blue.
Oh.
But before we get into all of that and a lot more,
Well, I am so excited to welcome our guest right now on the phone. All of you already know, many years ago, I was a great basketball player playing high Division I.
Wow.
I know, thank you very much. High Division I basketball. Go to a tournament down in Liberty University in the Vine Center, and I light it up. I mean, I light it up. Guess who was sitting in the stands?
You're playing against tiny people?
No, I was
Playing
No, high Division I. Liberty University was coming up. They were low Division I at that time, but we were playing down there. Guess who was in the stands and saw me? Our guest father. Our guest father was in the stands. Dr. Jerry Falwell Sr. was in the stands. He says, "Who's that girl? Bring her here and I'll put her on our 50,000-watt station." And that is how I transferred to one of the largest evangelical universities in the world. And I'm so glad he's responsible. He's my start in radio. For those
that's
of you.
awesome. It's all your fault,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, it's his father's fault.
It's your father's fault.
So we want to welcome to A Word on the Street, Jerry Falwell Jr. Thank you so much for being with us.
No, honored to be with you, and I got some bad news for you, though. Right now, there's no roof on the Vine Center.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no.
Did I rip it off all those years ago?
We're replacing it with a new, more permanent roof, so you got to come back and see when it's finished.
I
There it
absolutely will. So
Yep.
thank you so much. Of course, I met your father, responsible for me being getting my start on that 50,000-watt station, 90.9. And since then, you've been making some. You took over, went to University of Virginia. Of course, you went to Liberty, got your undergrad, University of Virginia, got your law degree, and then rest in peace, Dr. Jerry Falwell Sr. He passes away. You take over Liberty University, your brother, Thomas Road Baptist Church. And here we are in 2020. And I'm wondering, as I watched the moral majority movement with your father in the 1980s, your father running that, it's known, many people say it started the religious right. And many people say it galvanized Christians to get Ronald Reagan into office in the 1980s. Moral majority is no longer there. Your father spoke out on so many political and social issues. I'm wondering, Dr. Falwell, Jerry Falwell Jr., are you the contemporary of your father's moral majority movement?
Well, moral majority only had 4 issues that it championed: strong national defense, traditional family values, support for the state of Israel, and one more, but I can't remember what it was. But it ended in 1989, and I've been accused of history repeating itself because I was one of the first evangelicals to speak out in favor of President Trump in early 2016, and I like to think that that maybe I've had some of the same impact that my father had, because Reagan, in those days, evangelicals didn't even vote. And they had a choice between a Sunday school teacher who's a great Christian man, Jimmy Carter. He spoke here for commencement a few years ago, and Ronald Reagan, who had been married twice and was a movie star. And my father was able to convince folks, we're not electing a Sunday school teacher or a pastor, we're electing a president. So we need to choose somebody who has the right policies, who has success in the private sector, And that's what I tried to do with President Trump.
So we're going to go to traffic real quick and be right back with you to follow up on that question. Doug Turnbull.
That's correct. It's 612, a traffic red alert in East Point. Traffic number 2 Corinthians confirms it's 166 westbound, shut down west of DeLoach Drive. Some kind of police activity, and it's nobody's gotten by in the last few minutes there. Campbellton Road and I-20 West are your 2 alternates to that. 285 is really almost a delay-free north-southeast and west on the inner and outer loops. New trouble on the south side of Pocus Grove from traffic trooper Baby Bear across Bill Gardner Parkway west of I-75, y'all.
Mr. Falwell Jr., this is Shelley Winter. I still don't believe Melania Kai played ball, so I'm going to have to see pictures. But I do want to ask you this. How did you know, or why did you come out so early for Donald Trump? Because not many of us came out early for Donald Trump. There's a lot of us that came out later on, but myself, I came out very early. But you just said you did also. What did you see in him that made you come out so early for him?
Because the establishment Republicans, the Bush, the Romneys, the McCains, the Doles, had all betrayed the conservatives who supported them for so many years, most of my life. And I finally saw somebody, I didn't even know if he was conservative, but he had been successful in the private sector. And I come from a family of business people. People don't know that about my father. He was from a family of successful business people. And if you know anything about business people, they always do what's in the best interest of whatever organization that they lead. And right. I knew that if he became president, he would honor that fiduciary responsibility. He would do what was best for the American people, and I turned out to be right.
Do evangelicals have an obligation, in your opinion, to speak up on social and political issues, or is
I don't think evangelicals are any different than anybody else. I think everybody has a right, has a duty as a citizen to speak up on every issue, and I think evangelicals are no exception. I think Jesus said, "Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar, unto God that which is God's." In other words, be a good citizen and vote and make your voice heard, and that's right from the gospel. So I just don't see any difference between evangelicals or anybody else, and I think we all have a duty to make sure that this country is the greatest country that it can possibly be.
Well said.
We're talking to Jerry Falwell Jr. He's the president of one of the largest evangelical universities in the world, Liberty University. You took a lot of mainstream media, you took a hit when you decided during COVID-19, when all the universities in Virginia were closing their doors, moving to online. You made a tough decision to bring back some students to campus.
Well, we weren't that unusual in that decision, but we still realized we had 8,000 students living on campus, another 7,000 who lived in town, and we have 126,000 if you count the online students now. We're at our record enrollment right now. But the fact is there's some students, when we went to all online in March, who didn't have high-speed internet in their homes, or they had elderly relatives at home, or they were from other countries, so they had nowhere else to go. So we just thought how bad it would be just to say, go live in the street. We couldn't do that. So we let them come back. We had 0 cases. The New York Times lied and said we had 12 cases.
Yeah.
And so we're taking them to court next week.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. So how does it look? Everybody's wondering how universities and colleges, even here in Georgia, are they opening up? How's it looking for Liberty University? What's it going to be like on campus?
It's going to be business as usual, except the older population, this older staff, older faculty members, the ones who have some pre-existing conditions. We're going to keep them behind plexiglass when they're teaching, or we're going to find some other way to separate them from the young folks. But we don't see any reason why an 18 to 23-year-old should have to wear a mask. And but we are looking out for that 20% or so of the community that's in the risk group. And we've got a lot of creative ideas to keep them separate from the younger group.
Sports? Are we going to see sports? Are the Flames playing?
Well, we got to have teams to play, so it depends on what the other schools decide.
Okay, I got you. So one last question for you. I know you're watching. All the states are kind of watching each other to see what's going on. Governor Brian Kemp just called in the National Guard to come protect the governor's mansion, some other hotspots in Atlanta. And this is in wake of 8-year-old young lady being shot down by the University Avenue Wendy's. You know all about that. What are your thoughts about what the Governor Kemp's move on that?
Well, I've never met your governor, but I talked to him when he reopened. He was one of the first governors to reopen the state, and I congratulated him on that and talked to him and got to know him a little bit by text and by phone. But I think he's doing what he has to do because these big city mayors are not interested in what's good for their people and good for. I mean, duh. If you cut funding for law enforcement, crime's going to go up. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Absolutely.
And it just boggles my mind what these people are thinking and what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to destroy our country or what, but I congratulate Governor Kemp for doing what he has to do because the mayor, obviously, and the leadership of Atlanta is derelict in their duties. And it's there's no excuse for crime like the ones you just mentioned. And if we don't have law and order, we don't have a country.
Well said, sir. Well said. Man, you're welcome here anytime.
Of course, Shelley Winter is a hardcore Donald Trump supporter, but Dr. Jerry Falwell Jr., we appreciate you coming on and speaking your mind, and we'll definitely be watching and just appreciate hearing from somebody at that level. And of course, I have my gratitude for your father for what he did and giving me a full ride to Liberty University. Now, if I want to come back for my doctorates, can we work something out?
Absolutely. No question.
Did you hear that hesitation?
Yeah, did you, he hesitated. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
God
Jerry.
bless you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Have a good one.
Honored to be with you guys. Thank you. Yep. All right.
So you left the team you were on at the first offer from someone else?
To go to Lynch.
Message.
No, I just want to be clear. We have a team here. So if someone calls you tomorrow and says, hey, what you doing? You just going to leave?
It depends.
You just going to go like that? 404-872-0750.
There's somebody on hold right now that wants to talk to
Right.
you.
Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. Hello? Is this CNN?
Confessions Tuesday.
Is this CNN?
404-872-0750.
At 6:20, Doug Turnbull of the Skycopter.